Why is God taking so long? He is asking you the same question. I waited patiently for the Lord. These passionate words of David from Psalm 40 verse 1 extol us to stay the course and to not lose faith in God's ability to answer prayers at His sole discretion and in His perfect timing. Although verses like this encourage us to wait, they aren't intended to foster an attitude of complacency. Waiting on the Lord absolutely should not encourage a spirit of idleness on our part. When we approach His throne of grace to ask for freedom from an oppressive or time-consuming job situation, it's important for us to be prepared to take action. However, if you're longing to start a business or a new endeavor, it's baffling to know where or how to step out in faith when, for example, you're strapped for time and/or money as you meet the demands of your current job while drafting out a plan for your passion project. Accepting the mission. It's tough to plot out a biblically sound path to happiness and financial security because the process goes against our very nature. As members of the human race, we crave clear-cut examples and the fulfillment of a dream or goal that will tie up loose ends and help us make complete sense of events and circumstances that arise along the way. Unlike motivational books and movies that mostly illustrate a final, lasting, and secure end result, real-life scenarios typically don't offer such clarity. Rather, the key for the believer is to trust God through the bleak days of uncertainty. When you aren't sure of your plan or purpose, the goal is to pray, step forward in faith, and be prepared to take action and leverage the skills and talents God has generously given you. These instructions might seem a little vague, so let's break down the process by using some solid, biblical examples. A lesson from Gideon. Perhaps one of the best biblical examples of an individual who stepped out in faith is found in the story of Gideon, Judges 5:14 through 24. Feeling abandoned by God, Gideon at first feels wholly unqualified to bring the Israelite army to victory against the Midianites. Gideon holds some pretty intense conversations with God, but God directly refutes his fear by affirming that He will protect and strengthen Gideon to lead and ultimately defeat the enemy. Gideon accepts this God-executed commission and prepares his army for a successful battle. Although he did experience an understandable lack of faith, he ultimately listened to God's instruction and accepted the mission. Gideon was then willing to take action despite his lack of confidence in his own abilities. Although you, like Gideon, might feel wholly unprepared to lay essential groundwork, taking a small step in faith can lead to great personal victory. The road may not be easy, but keep moving, learning, and trusting in the Lord to guide your steps. I felt like Gideon many times in my life. Unable, unqualified, inexperienced, and even unworthy to step out and pursue my own online business that would separate me from the rat race and provide me with freedom and time to bring to pass God's plans in my life. Gideon's story has encouraged me to throw aside my doubts and fears and do what is right in God's eyes and not the world's. If He brought me to it, He will bring me through it. A lesson from Moses. Incidentally, there is yet another Old Testament example of a man who had every reason to feel utterly and hopelessly discouraged on his journey that would ultimately lead the Israelites to the Promised Land. Moses dealt with just about every obstacle imaginable: a hard-hearted Pharaoh, a devastating series of plagues, and a whirlwind escape through the Red Sea with Pharaoh's army nipping at his heels. However, throughout these challenges, Moses trusted in the Lord to lead him out of this peril. Naturally, as a human leader, he made his mistakes, but he pressed onward in faith, and God faithfully rescued the Israelites from their bondage in Egypt, just as He promised, standing firm and staying busy. So, what's the common denominator in both of these examples? The leaders took consistent action. They actively worked while they waited on God and resolved their fears and insecurities. Much like a server in a restaurant who's constantly serving others while a meal is prepping in the kitchen. The same applies to you, the prospective entrepreneur. Ensure that you are taking disciplined steps, but recognize that you must start somewhere. Make connections, draft a business plan, cultivate your skills by attending workshops, taking courses, and honing your craft. A final word. Most importantly, make it your top priority to start every single day in prayer and devotion. Ask God to help you use your talents and ambitions for His glory, so that you will experience more personal and financial freedom with which to serve the Lord more effectively. Always maintain the mindset of a humble servant, knowing full well that your work is not in vain to the Lord. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 58. God can and will use you in many powerful ways as long as you remain in Him. So be ready to grow and even to have gospel encounters with others along the way. Be consistent in your devotion to Him, and He will open doors for you as you grow your business and share your faith with the world.